He saw, he took over. Yes, it was Teofimo Lopez Jr.'s night on this big night for boxing. Welcome into Morning Combat's instant analysis. I'm Brian Campbell, one half of the MK duo. Luke Thomas, by the way, on this Saturday night, already supplied you with a recap of that UFC Fight Night main event in the featherweight division. So check that out. You know what we want you to do. Like the video, subscribe, MK all day, nearly every day. You better believe we're going to be back Monday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern for the full breakdown. But let me give you a little appetizer here right now, as Teofimo Lopez Jr. became the youngest fighter in boxing history to become a four-belt undisputed champion in this four-belt era here of modern times by outpointing Vasiliy Lomachenko in a big-time upset. Unanimous decision across the board. Look, let's say the most obvious part right off the top. We knew Lopez was brash. We knew he had big-time power. We knew his dad in the corner had a lot of balls, but we thought coming in, if you're going to think the underdog's going to win it, go for that plus 500 knockout, because he's got a one-punch chance with the athleticism, the big surge, everything that he brings to the table. Who would have thought that Lopez would go in there and outbox maybe the best pure boxer in boxing and maybe of this post-Mayweather era and Lomachenko? And that's what happened on this Saturday night from Las Vegas inside the top-ranked bubble. Woo! You got to give the kid a ton of credit, because I know we all watched the first half of this fight, and I know that Luke, myself, a lot of us really rang that bell this week to say, hey, MMA fans, there's a boxing fight you got to see here. I mean, it matters. It's on free TV. It matters. You got to be there. And we got this term in boxing called that's boxing. Anytime boxing gets a big-time close-up, you know, those boxing will shit its pants more often than not. I remember Mayweather Pacquiao. I loved it. I'm a hardcore. A lot of people were like, where's the action? Halfway through this fight, we thought that's what we were getting here. Why the hell is Lomachenko not throwing any punches? Why does this fight look like a sleep-induced chess match? I'll tell you why straight up. Because the great Lomachenko, who, yes, coming in on a 14-month layoff, longest of his career, I do think that played a part, although that's not an excuse. I don't think he believed that that Lopez was going to be that fast and that sharp and accurate with his punches. Forget the poise, forget the ability to hold out a game plan. Those were strong by Lopez. But the fact that Lopez came in there, never got rattled by Loma doing the Mayweather thing, right? Taking a couple rounds of a snapshot, not throwing back, just navigating distance, speed, all that, just taking in all the information in the computer. Lopez still got off with his jab, still was scoring to the body with shots, yet stayed poised, never overextended, never put himself in trouble. I was as shocked as anyone else that Lomachenko waited too long to come on. But I think what happened is he got to a point where he said, okay, this kid's going to break. This kid's going to fall apart. He's going to gas out. Now, the kid did slowly gas out at the end as Lomachenko stepped up with the pressure. You do obviously have to give Lopez credit for how he closed in that 12th round with the big-time shots to hurt Lomachenko and just put that exclamation point on it. But how Lopez really won this fight was by never folding. He had a magician in front of him, a guy who was going to wait on him just to make one mistake, wait on him to slow down, wait on him to do anything wrong. And he never gave that opening to such a genius fighter in Lomachenko. And really, if this was your first time seeing Lomachenko dazzle and do what he does best, I feel bad for you. Even though he did come on late, that's not who he is normally. And again, there's a reason why, because Lopez, man, he's got a lot of balls, but he's a special fighter. I don't see how you can watch that now. I mean, he didn't have the experience coming in. There's only so many one-punch knockouts against B and C fighters that you can say, okay, I will give him a chance against Lomachenko. You really have to have believed in the eye test and what you saw there. Well, good God, what he did on this night inside the ring there on the biggest possible stage, you know, very few guys could do that. Very few 23-year-olds could stay that poised, could hold that thing together, could carry out that game plan. Lomachenko, while he was not throwing punches, he was not getting off with his jab, he was not going to the body, at the very least, his defense was A+ on this night. I mean, he was really not giving Lopez anywhere to land anything. A lot of younger fighters in that spot would get rattled themselves, would not really know what to do. You got to give Lopez credit for holding that thing down, just doing the bare minimum of what Lomachenko would give him. And then when there was an opening, I thought Lopez tested him a bit. I thought in the first half of that fight, it was maybe one punch per round, two punches here and there. I thought Lopez landed enough, and you saw the swelling start to begin on Lomachenko's face, where bottom line, Lomachenko's a smaller fighter who's a bit over his head at lightweight. We've said that a million times. He's so ridiculously talented that he gets away with it, even though Linares dropped him and Luke Campbell and Pedraza had moments against him. But if you're going to hit him and you have the combination of speed, accuracy, power, size, and all that, you're going to make him look like a small fighter. And I think this was very surprising for Lomachenko in there, just as much as we were surprised that he wasn't getting off first, that he wasn't making quicker adjustments. The adjustments weren't there to be made. I had him heavily ahead, 6-1, I believe, at that 7th round turn when Lomachenko really realized, okay, it's time to go. It was too late. I got to give a little bit of criticism to the great Papachenko, Anatoly Lomachenko in the corner, the famed Ukrainian genius amateur coach. He was telling Loma in round 4 and 5, relax, stay poised, wait, you got this. You don't got anything. You don't have anything in that moment. And I get what they're thinking, right? They're thinking, again, the kid's going to break. The kid's going to make a mistake. He's going to tire out. Well, again, that never happened. I am happy, though, from the sake of an entertainment standpoint, for any non-boxing fans that came over from college football or came over from MMA on this night and stayed for this fight, that we did see a little bit of action to close it. And I think you got to give Lomachenko a lot of credit. He is not a big puncher. Yes, he can stop you through accumulation. Yes, he can hit you with punches you don't see coming. And at 126 and 130, he did have a few fun and spectacular finishes, but most of the time, it was no Moschenko. He'd just confuse you and frustrate you to the point you'd throw in the towel and be like, I'm done here. No Mas. He didn't have the power in this matchup to rally, yet he tried every possible trick in the book. And in the round 7 and 8, he started to get hot. Rounds 9, 10, and 11, Lomachenko was putting it together. Combinations, hard shots at some points too. And I think that pressure is what began to get to Lopez. You started to see some cracks in the veneer there, and he slowed down a bit. In the end, I scored it 117, 111 for Teofimo. I felt that he was losing that 12th round. And had he lost that 12th round, it was going to be a 115, 113 on my card for Lopez. He still would have won. Lomachenko still needed knockdowns. I got to give the kid credit again for biting down in that 12th round, landing the big power shot. He hurt Lomachenko. It looked like he was, close to maybe getting him out of there. And in the end, I go 117, 111. Andre Ward's scorecard on the ESPN telecast, the draw, I didn't like it. I didn't think it was necessarily on point. Now, look, that's only 2 rounds different in a lot of ways, 3 rounds different than what I had. But I feel like where my score was 117, 111, maybe you can give Lomachenko 1 or 2 more rounds at the max. And even at that point, it's still not a draw. So the scores were way wider than we thought. And Julie Lederman is an experienced judge. She's the daughter of the late great Hall of Famer Harold Lederman. She's had some rough nights at the office at times, and she's getting killed, I think, kind of rightfully so, for this 119, 109 in favor of Lopez. That didn't accurately sum up anything of what we saw in the ring. I mean, Lomachenko's rally in the end, he looked great in 7, 8, and 9, but those were still somewhat close rounds. But 10, 11, first half of 12, he's absolutely coming on. And I think there was a lot of people that gave him at least 1 round in that first 7. So, 3, 4 rounds, almost 5 rounds there. If you had it a draw, I'm not going to throw you off the island, but that wasn't right. And you also wasn't right to go in the opposite direction, 119, 109 for Lopez. The sweet spot was in the middle, but in this case, here's the best part. They got it right in the end, and it wasn't a situation where Lopez hangs on for a split decision and one person has it, disgustingly in the other direction for Lomachenko, where it wouldn't have made any sense. That's where you're going to get, boxing is a joke. It's, it's fixed and all that crap. We didn't have that on this night, and that's great to see in the end. What we had was a young fighter with only 15 pro fights in Lopez, who, you got to really look at that resume. The Richard Kami fight was a legit one. Kami was a champion coming in. He's tough as nails. But Lopez blew him away in a round and a half. We didn't really get to learn who he was. The only other win in his 15 pro fights that's like quasi-elite was Diego Magdaleno, and he blew him away by knockout. You don't know what you don't know. And I was talking up Lopez big coming in because, I believed in him. Not enough where I was going to bite the bullet and predict the knockout, but I believed that he was going to have a chance to stay in this fight and make some noise because he's the bigger man. Lomachenko's he's gambling at 135. Somebody's going to catch him eventually because he's a small man. I mean, he's basically a featherweight. But I never would have guessed that Lopez could put this all together the exact way that he did. And I mean, good God, what an upset. Not just an upset of a win like that, but to make a great fighter in Lomachenko have to stretch it out that long, to go almost 7 full rounds with no offense. It was getting embarrassing. It was getting like, is this fight being thrown? Like, what is happening here? That never happens. That's a testament to how good Lopez really is. And while I'm super happy that we got a little bit of entertainment at the end with Lomachenko kind of making a little bit of a run there, you didn't even need that, though, to really get out of this fight what you should have. That Lopez is absolutely for real and a future star in this sport. Like we said, he can give you the backflip, he can give you the trash talk if it has to, he can give you the 1,000-watt smile. He's New York born and bred. He's, Honduran American. I mean, there's a lot of potential marketable ways in which he could be a big deal, but none of that matters unless you can go in there and win big fights. And again, we had a fight and a half to be able to tell us if he's elite or not, and we didn't know it. And he comes out there at 23 and does this to most people's pound for pound king and Lomachenko. That's crazy. It's so crazy that, this week, as I go back to my pound for pound top 10 rankings, and as a lot of people in the boxing game do, what do we do with Lopez? I mean, he just soundly beat Lomachenko. He's got to be in your top 10. I don't know exactly where. I got to take out the slide rule and put on the goggles and do the math. But I didn't even consider this coming in, that he could outclass him the way he did. It was an outclassing. It really was. And when it was supposed to fall apart, when Lopez was supposed to completely run out of gas and fall apart late, he didn't do it. He bent a little bit. He never broke. There's a real man in there. There's intangibles. There's a real fighter in there. Get ready. We already know the future of this sport is names like Gervonta Tank Davis is going to headline the Showtime pay-per-view on Halloween. It's, Ryan Garcia. It's whatever. I mean, you're going to put Teofimo Lopez really ahead of those guys in a lot of ways, because this win is that big and it wasn't a fluke. And it was, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, if he had come out there and knocked out Lomachenko in like the second round, you'd give him all the credit in the world. You'd say the power is for real. This kid's amazing, blah, blah, blah. But you'd still go, hey, if we rematch it, who knows if Lomachenko can't come out and still do to him what we thought. It's better for Lopez in an odd way that the fight was so weird and that he had to show the complete package in a lot of ways. And the power punching is for real. You saw when Lomachenko did bite down and try to go for it, he was met with resistance. And that's why Lomachenko only went to it to a certain degree. He didn't want to get knocked out on this stage. And it's wild. I think the biggest problem when you talk about what's next and moving forward is the boxing politics. ESPN you give them so much credit for putting this fight on for free, and they can spout off that this is just the beginning of more fights to come. Well, you can put on fights on regular TV and it's more helpful when everybody's in the same promotion. And that's where Lopez and Lomachenko luckily are. And that's why there's a decent chance we could see it a second time. But there's big time stars at lightweight, even beyond Lomachenko. I mean, really, when we're talking about the next big names in the sport, they're pretty much all at lightweight right now. It's Devin Haney, who has that secondary WBC title at 135. It's Ryan Garcia, who's going to step up against Luke Campbell in a big fight. It's Tank Davis, who's moving down to 130 for this Leo Santa Cruz fight, but he's going to be campaigning at lightweight. It's Shakur Stevenson, who's coming up from featherweight slowly and is going to be at lightweight before we know it. Stevenson's with Top Rank, but he's not at lightweight yet. Everybody else, though, is across the street from Teofimo. So I'm not sure if Lopez is going to look at what's in front of him. I think best bet, you're probably going to go back to Lomachenko. It's going to make money. It's going to matter. People are going to care. You can use the layoff as an excuse for Lomachenko. He got solved in the first one, but he was coming on late. What if he can do that earlier next time? Or maybe Lopez moves up to 140, where Top Rank has a big name like Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez, who are going to fight themselves for all 4 belts at junior welterweight coming up in 2021. So exciting times. Boxing didn't crap its pants in the end. We got an interesting fight with a lot of subplots, a lot to talk about this week on Morning Combat, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 11 a.m. Eastern live, all 3 days there, all the biggest headlines in boxing and MMA. And obviously, we hit you over the head with the bonus. Okay. It's not only going to be a big fight week coming up with Khabib and Justin Gaethje, but if you haven't checked out what's going on in the world of bonus beyond Luke Thomas's weekly live chat on the MK, beyond Dissected, beyond the interviews that we got going on right now, go out, check out Justin Gaethje, check out. We did have Teofimo and we had Loma on this past week. Check out what we did with Joaquin Buckley and Corey Sandhagen. MK's taking over your life as it should be. And I do thank all the MMA fans for, opening it up a little bit, checking in to see what's going on in the boxing game. It didn't hurt you. It was fine. We saw Edgar Berlanga on the undercard, improved to 15-0 with 15 first-round KOs. There are things to watch. There's room for everybody on this ship. What a wild night. But in the end, I tried so hard, right? It doesn't even matter. No, in the end, it's Teofimo Lopez Jr.'s night. And you may not love his dad, good old Teo Sr. there, who ironically enough, his nickname is Junior, which doesn't make sense. But you may not love that guy, but he was right. He was right. He was right. The takeover is real. Lopez is a real star. I want to see which direction Lomachenko goes next. Does he reboot at 135? Does he try to get Lopez back in there for a rematch? Does he go back down in weight where, his size, the discrepancy will help him a lot more? I mean, he's got power at 26. He made 4 guys that were elite in a row quit at 130. Lightweight, we felt like may be a bridge too far if he can meet his equal. Kind of met his equal on this night. The takeover is real, not just for Lopez, not just for my wild hair and bloated face. I'm working on it. I got the Peloton back there. I'm working on it. But the MK takeover is even bigger. So please like the video, hit that subscribe button. There's nothing like it in the world. And I think you already know that. Thank you for patronizing us. I don't care if your hoes are loyal, but I do have 2 words for you on this Saturday evening. We out.